and welcome to our little corner of magic.
Of dragons, wands, and puzzles. Winter had quietly slipped into memory. The last blankets of snow slowly surrendered to spring as meltwater trickled over ancient stones. Tiny emerald shoots pushed through the thawing earth, while brown, green buds appeared upon the castle trees. Birds busily carried bits of straw and moss, rebuilding their nests beneath the ancient eaves of Hogwarts. Life had quietly awakened once again. Potions classroom, deep beneath the castle, Professor Snape's calm voice echoed throughout the potions classroom. Moonlace leaves lose much of their restorative properties if harvested too late in the season. Timing, as always, is everything. Students carefully copied notes while Jean finished writing the day's lesson across the chalkboard. Closing the large herbology reference with a quiet thump, Severus surveyed the classroom. Before spring break arrives, I expect all of you to have used your brains to study with considerably more diligence than you've shown today, rather than allowing your thoughts to drift into oblivion or whatever trivial distractions currently occupy your minds. As Severus spoke, Jean continued writing neatly across the chalkboard. Without turning around, the faintest smile tugged at the corner of her lips. The students never noticed. The students exchanged uneasy glances. There will be a written examination covering the magical properties, uses, and identification of every herb we have studied during the past several weeks. His dark eyes swept slowly across the room. I trust there will be no unpleasant surprises for me. Turning toward Jean, he said formally, "Miss Grifflet, you may dismiss the class." Jean nodded politely.
Yes, Professor.
She cleared her throat, gently swept a loose strand of hair behind her ear, and addressed the classroom.
Class is dismissed for the day.
A subtle smile touched her lips as the students gathered their books and quietly filed from the room. Silence settled over the dungeon. Jean picked up the chalkboard eraser.
I think you may have frightened them just a little.
Without looking up from arranging his parchments, Severus replied, "Then perhaps they'll remember the material." Jean chuckled.
You do realize they think you're terrifying.
One dark eyebrow rose. Do they? Jean smiled.
Just a little.
Jean glanced toward the small classroom window. Perched outside sat Wanda Everglen's owl. She opened the window. The owl flew confidently into the room and landed squarely upon Severus's head. Jean froze before quickly pressing her lips together to hide her laughter. With complete dignity, Severus lifted the owl from his head. "I presume this visitor is for you." Jean accepted the parchment. Her eyes brightened.
My wand.
She unfolded Wanda's letter. Her wand had finally been restored after months of careful work. Wanda also wished to see her personally, explaining there were several observations about the wand that deserved proper conversation rather than a hurried explanation in writing. A smaller note fluttered free. "Please forgive Hawkeye. His eyesight has been failing him of late." Severus glanced at the owl, then back at Jean. I had already reached that conclusion. Jean laughed. Jean carefully folded Wanda Everglen's letter before looking across the quiet potions classroom at Severus. She said softly, unable to hide the smile upon her face.
After all these months, it's finally ready.
Severus looked up from the parchment resting upon his desk. "Wanda has completed the repairs?" Jean nodded.
She has. She also asked if I would come to North Vale as soon as I was able. There are several things she wishes to discuss with me concerning my wand.
A comfortable silence settled between them. Jean smiled.
Would you like to come with me?
"I would." His answer came without hesitation. Her smile brightened. Then Severus glanced toward the familiar stack of essays waiting patiently upon his desk. "I'm afraid I cannot." Jean followed his gaze. The examinations require marking. Tomorrow's lessons still need preparing, and the paperwork, he said with faintest trace of dry amusement, will not complete itself. Jean laughed softly.
No. I suppose it won't.
She stepped closer.
I won't be gone long.
Rising gently on her toes, she placed a tender kiss upon his cheek.
I'll be back before dinner, and I'll help you finish everything.
For a brief moment, Severus simply looked at her. Then the corner of his mouth lifted almost imperceptibly. I'll hold you to that promise, Jean. She smiled warmly.
I know you will, Severus.
Gathering her traveling cloak, Jean quietly left the potions classroom. The warmth of spring greeted her as she stepped out into the castle courtyard. She paused for a moment, enjoying the gentle breeze. Then, a familiar sound drifted across the grounds. It was no longer the tiny chirp of a hatchling. It carried the beginnings of a young dragon's roar. A smile immediately crossed Jean's face.
There you are.
She looked around the quiet courtyard.
I thought you had gone.
A broad shadow glided silently across the stone path before her. Looking upward, she laughed softly. The golden dragon circled gracefully overhead before folding his wings into a smooth, spiraling landing a few feet away. Jean's eyes widened with delight.
You've grown.
She walked over and gently stroked the top of his head. Her fingers brushed across the row of small horns. She suddenly paused. Leaning closer, she counted carefully.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Her fingertips rested lightly upon the two tiny rounded nubs where horns should have continued growing. A gentle smile spread across her face.
I suppose I can't keep calling you Little Dragon anymore.
The young dragon tilted his head curiously.
I think I've finally found the perfect name.
She smiled.
6.
The dragon answered with an excited little roar, his tail happily swishing behind him. Jean laughed.
I'll take that as your approval.
Together they began the journey toward Northvale village, 6 happily alternating between walking beside her and making short, graceful flights overhead. Sometime later, with a stack of corrected parchments in his arms, Severus made his way toward his office. As he passed one of the castle's great windows overlooking the grounds, movement below caught his attention. He paused. Far below, Jean continued along the winding path leading away from the castle. The young dragon remained faithfully at her side. The quiet tension he hadn't realized he had been carrying eased slightly. She would not be making the journey alone. One thought lingered. The dragon's behavior was unusual. Without another glance, Severus continued to his office. Closing the heavy wooden door behind him, he placed the parchments upon his desk. His eyes settled upon the iridescent dragon-hide diary Jean had given him. After a thoughtful pause, he opened it. Dipping his black quill into the inkwell, he began to write. Curious. The young dragon remains with Jean. Dragons are capable of respect. They may tolerate those deemed worthy, yet they do not ordinarily form lasting attachments to humans. Another piece. His quill paused before continuing. Jean's genealogy book of prophecies and seers, the whispers, the magical breeze, the vision, Balaam, Anwir, her repaired wand, the young dragon. He studied the page in thoughtful silence. Each mystery appeared separate, yet together they formed a single puzzle. His quill moved one final time. Every answer I seek appears to lead back to Jean. Severus quietly closes the diary. The mystery had grown. So had his determination to understand it. Love what you see, like and subscribe, and be a part of our journey. It's far from being over.